Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, I want to give you an update here around Bitcoin's price because we are seeing some movement upward on the daily chart. Now, it's nothing to call home about. We got to let this rally prove itself, but it's nice to see that potentially we may have hit the bottom of this pullback. And I say potentially because there hasn't been a complete validation yet, and we're not operating with certainties here. We have to let these rallies prove themselves. They have to build their support levels and keep moving upwards. And then we can say, okay, looks like we're on the rise here and we're going to head towards new all-time highs. But right now, we still got to let this play out and see what happens over the next couple of weeks. But some are saying July historically has been an up month, so to speak, for the stock market and crypto. We'll see if that actually plays out. Past performance is not an indicator of future performance, of course, but sometimes history, while it doesn't repeat, it does rhyme. So let's see what happens here. The DXY, the dollar currency index, still showing some weakness here, but not entirely collapsing yet. So I think we got to let these things play out. I know it's boring. I know it's annoying, but this is part of the bull market process. This is the process of investing. This is not like playing the lottery. This is not walking into the casino and throwing it on black and making your money instantaneously and instant gratification. It can take years to make a significant return, but it can be very significant, and nothing moves like the crypto market. So patience is a key. Something I want to highlight here is Hunter Horsley of Bitwise Asset Management. He highlighted that $40 million of inflows went into their Bitcoin ETF. So Bitwise is Bitcoin ETF, which is BitB. That's a huge amount of money, folks. So people are buying the dips both in spot and in the ETFs. And I've personally been buying the dip, but not for Bitcoin. I've been buying the altcoin dip. I added a significant amount of Solana to my portfolio because of some recent developments and in what Solana has been doing with Blinks and much more. And I added more FET and render tokens and those AI themed tokens in my portfolio. Not financial advice, do your own research. But I believe altcoins will have a much bigger run up from here than Bitcoin. Not to say Bitcoin's not going to go to new all-time highs. It will. And I took my position in Bitcoin back in December 2022 and January 2023. So I'm well positioned for Bitcoin, but this is pretty big. That's a huge number there that's going into Bitcoin. Now, some big news coming out of Coinbase. The US Marshals Service has selected Coinbase Prime to provide custody and advanced trading services for its large cap digital assets portfolio. Folks, it's amazing. The United States government has been sending funds, Bitcoin and so forth, to Coinbase to sell and to custody. And you got validation here that the US Marshals, I mean, that's pretty incredible, right? They are selecting Coinbase. And on the other side of the token, you have scumbag regulator Gary Gensler suing the SEC for services and business activities that the SEC knew of when they greenlighted Coinbase to go public. You can't make this shit up. It's pathetic. This is why I call Gary Gensler a scumbag. It's unbelievable, and this is why we need Congress to act. Now, Faryar Shirzad of Coinbase highlighted the following as far as details of this partnership. Today, the U.S. Marshals Service, an agency within the United States Government of Justice that is responsible for asset forfeiture, announced that it selected Coinbase Prime to provide custody and advanced trading services for the agency's Class 1 large-cap digital assets, which it manages centrally in support of federal law enforcement. The United States Marshals Service conducted a competitive due diligence process that evaluated a range of solutions, ultimately choosing Coinbase due to our strong track record and ability to securely provide institutional-grade crypto services at scale. Huge adoption news here for Coinbase, and once again, it makes Gary Gensler look like an idiot. And even attorney John Deaton, or I should say Senate candidate John Deaton, says this is how insane our politics has become. Because of Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler's war in crypto, the SEC has alleged that Coinbase operates an illegal business. The SEC alleged this only 2 years after the SEC accelerated Coinbase's IPO because it was in the public's best interest. While the SEC claims Coinbase is operating an illegal business model, other parts of the government, including the DOJ, utilize Coinbase's business model. So He's absolutely right. And he says Gensler and Senator Warren represent everything wrong with partisan politics, and I believe the people of Massachusetts have had enough. If you are in the state of Massachusetts, vote for John Deaton. If you are outside of that state, donate to John Deaton. I have donated, and I believe he can beat Elizabeth Warren. We got to get these people who are crooks and corrupt like this out. It's not only about crypto. Elizabeth Warren, she's look, I'll give it to her. She's a master marketer. She knows how to paint the facade and the narrative around her that she's anti-banks and anti-establishment, but she's not. We saw her and Jamie Dimon come together to bash crypto a couple months ago, right, folks? And she works with the banks, and she's doing the bidding of these TradFi guys who are getting disrupted. And her gimp on the leash, Gary Gensler, of course, is an extension of hers. This is what's been going on. Now, we got news here that Silvergate Bank agrees to settle after the SEC says the crypto-friendly bank made false statements about AML procedures. Now, the SEC, I believe, has a job to do, and that is protecting investors. Now, they have fallen far from that core mission. We've seen it. They become political, they break the law, and much more. But the SEC shouldn't be abolished. They should do their job, go after people who are not doing the right things and breaking the law, right? We don't want people to be breaking the law. We don't want another FTX. And we also don't want a corrupt bureaucrat like Gensler in charge. So it sucks that you're dealing with bad actors in the government when you're trying to weed out bad actors in a new technology that these people come in and try to take advantage of. So the SEC said the bank failed to detect nearly $9 billion in suspicious transfers by FTX and its related entities. Now, if this is all true and they didn't do the right things, then they should be penalized, right? We want people to abide by the law. So this is good that they're trying to stop any type of bad activities. Now, moving ahead, there's huge news around Circle, and Circle CEO Jeremy Allaire shared the news. And if you haven't seen my interview with him, I published it this morning. Be sure to check it out. Circle's USDC is on the rise, and they're doing some great things. So he says here, breaking news, Circle announces that USDC and EURC, which is the stablecoin for the euro, are now available under new EU stablecoin laws. Circle is the first global stablecoin issuer to be compliant with Mica. Circle is now natively issuing both USDC and EURC to European customers effective July 1st. So essentially, the Mica regulations went into law here, and Circle is in full compliance. This is a huge win for them. It's kind of bad for Tether, which is their largest competitor and the largest stablecoin in the entire market in the world. And we'll see what happens with Tether and USDT. I don't think Tether and USDT is going out of business like some of the sensationalized people would say. I think they're going to lose market share. But Tether has a head start. They have, once again, the largest stablecoin in the world. And I believe they are engaged with these regulators to figure out something here. But what we've been seeing is that many crypto exchanges started delisting Tether and USDT from their exchanges in Europe specifically, not globally, but in Europe specifically. So FYI on this is a big win for Circle and stablecoins, and the regulations are coming in. And like I said, check out my interview with Jeremy Allaire. You can hear a lot of these things from the horse's mouth, and we talk about the future of stablecoin adoption and much more. Regarding the delisting of Tether and some other stablecoins, Anthony Welfare here highlighted that Uphold in his Uphold account that only USDC and PYUSD, PayPal's stablecoin, is available on Uphold in Europe. So things are starting to move in a certain direction. We'll see what Tether is able to do. Now, Uphold is a sponsor of this podcast. They're a great exchange. I've been using them since 2018. So you can buy Bitcoin, crypto, stable coins, and much more. You can even trade precious metals on this platform. They're available in over 150 countries. And once again, I've been using them for many years. I can vouch for this platform. They have full reserves. They have transparency reports that you can go take a look at. So they don't commingle or lend out your funds and all that nonsense. So if you'd like to learn more about Uphold, check out the link in the description. Now, speaking of exchanges, guys, Sony, yes, the electronics makers, Sony, which has been around for a long time. Guess what? They're going to launch a crypto exchange in Japan. Folks, I often ask this question, do you see what is happening here? Game theory playing out right before our eyes. Crypto is the future, and everybody's trying to get a slice of the pie. And they're trying to use the technology, launch different services. It's amazing what's happening. So let me give you some details here. The cryptocurrency industry has seen the arrival of several major firms into its ecosystem. Following this cryptocurrency trail, Sony, Japan's multi-industry conglomerate, has decided to acquire Amber Japan, a prominent crypto firm. Through this deal, Sony will be debuting into the cryptocurrency exchange sector. With a $100 billion market valuation, Sony has long spoken about diversifying its holdings to build its portfolio. The company entered the cryptocurrency market. The commercial subsidiary of the company, Sony Network Communications, collaborated with Japanese blockchain startup Startail Labs to create Sony's own public blockchain network last year. Many of these companies are using the technology. They're going through research and development, trial and error, and they're looking to launch different services. And it's amazing that Sony, of all companies, is launching a crypto exchange. But I guess we shouldn't be surprised, guys. This is the future. You're going to see a lot more companies coming in. And, recently we've been talking about Michael Dell, founder and CEO of Dell, of course, Dell Computers and all that, has been tweeting a lot about Bitcoin lately. And I've been telling you guys, I think we're going to see some news very soon that Dell has bought Bitcoin and they are putting it on their balance sheet. So get ready, folks. Big things are ahead. And a great way to support the podcast, guys, grab a copy of my book on Amazon, Rethinking Crypto. It's available in digital and paperback. Grab a copy to support the podcast. Grab a couple copies for your friends and family who want to learn about crypto. And if you bought a copy already, please leave a rating and review. It would really help the rankings. Thank you guys for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.